Good morning. Today we're looking at how we can actually test our queue data structure by using a quick little method in our controller class. As you can see right here in my start method, I have my little message saying we're going to use the test a queue of type meme, and we're testing the meme queue method and then finish testing. So let's go take a look at our meme types. We can see again how to make a class inside C++, and then go from there and see how we're going to test it. So let's go ahead and go to our morning mega project. In the control, I'm going to go into model, and I'm going to go to my Meme.hpp. My Meme.hpp, as you can see, is just a really basic class. It's simply just a couple, some basic data members of string, int, double, and bool, so we can use the idea of getting and setting those values. We have a constructor of default and a constructor that takes a single parameter of string, so we can initialize it, as well as the getters and setters that go along with that. We take a look at the implementation of that file. Take a look over here really fast. Our regular implementation, as you can see, I've got a default value of boring for my memes, because if it's just a boring meme, obviously it's going to be really fun. My hipster quotient of how hipster my meme is going to be of 0.99999 negative, so we can see how hipster that really is. And then we have the ability to actually set some information that go along with this, as well as just the default getters and setters, so we can use those just to return and set the values that we're normally using already. So no big deal right there. We've got those. Those look the same in every C++ program or Java program we've ever made. They all belong to class meme, and we use the scope resolution. Notice this is a little bit different from when we're looking at the idea of our type-based thing, because when we're doing the idea of a type, that's what we're actually storing inside something. But when we're making just a regular class like we have right here, it just has the default implementation and information right here inside the .cpp file, and we have the settings of the values right there, and we have the getters and setters, and there's no template class type because this is not the type. This is actually goes as the type that we're making that. So we'll go ahead and take a look again and review in our model class. We're going to go to our linear structures. We're going to look at inheritance from DoublyLinkedList. We're going to take a look at our queue class. And so inside queue.hpp, again, we have the idea that we're making a queue or a line of objects that have a front and an end, and using how we actually use that. We have our add and remove methods that use the enqueue, dequeue methods to go along with that, and then our peek method just to check to see what's inside that. And so we're going to go ahead and test and run that using that test method inside our controller class. So we'll switch over to that and take a look at that really fast. So we go to the controller class, go to structure controller.cpp, and we'll go down to the very bottom here of our file. And again, we have right here in our structure controller, we have our test meme queue method. As you can see, I am making a meme object, first meme, and I could use the non-default constructor by passing a string right here, the toddler fist with a pinwheel, a very common meme that we can often see. And then I'm using my standard way of declaring and initializing a type inside C++, where I give the name of the type, the fact that it's a template, so I give the specification right there. So I give the type specification right there as type is meme. So meme is the type of that. And then meme queue is the name. So I've created and initialized my meme queue at this point. I'm going to call memequeue.add, and I pass that first meme into it. Then make a second meme. I set the dankness on that second meme to something different so I can actually see something that's on there. I then have a quick cout statement saying that this meme title should be about toddlers and is, and I'm using the peek method, the non-destructive method, to actually grab that value from the top line. And then I have the meme queue size should be 2 and is, and then I have the getSize method call to see what the size is. Then I remove from the queue the 0th value, because remove will only take 0 as the print value. If I put anything else in there, it's going to have an assert failure, and the program will crash. I then have my cout statement check to see that the title of this new meme should be boring. I'm using peek get title again to check to see what's inside without destroying the data. And then I call the dequeue, and I store that into temp, because I'm actually removing what's inside the queue and storing that value right here as a temporary variable. And again, we have the idea of our temp variable. We're just catching that value from that dequeue because it's a destructive method, but we return the value from that. We store it in that temp variable. And so then I can actually compare that to what's inside it. I use my cout statement right here, and the dankness should be 8435, the value that I set right here on line 233. And then I should see what's inside that in that temp bucket, dankness method. And again, my value of my size should be 0 because I've dequeued and I've removed. So I've taken both the two things out of there, and it should be at 0 at this point now, so we can check to see how that works. Let's go ahead and hit run and see this happen. My build's successful. As you can see right here, we'll scroll this down so we can see the code as well as that. We're going to test a queue of type meme. The meme title should be about toddlers, and look, it's toddler fist with pinwheel. Our meme logic was correct. The queue should be a size 2, and it is 2. Boring is boring. 8435 and 8435 for the dankness level. Fantastic. Everything's matching the way it should. And the meme queue size should be 0 and it is 0. Our finished testing, our program exits code 0. Again, we have a fabulous thing. Let's go ahead and let's put a lovely breakpoint right here and take a look at the details of what's actually happening with that. So we'll replay this method. We can see what the actual status of our structure is right here. So I have my meme first meme, And as you can see, there's nothing inside that. My dankness is 0, hipster quotient 0, mainstream is set to be true because it's just the default values on that. We'll go ahead and step over that line, and all those values appropriately get set based on what the parameterized constructor assigns into that. Okay, so we have toddler fist with pinwheel 27, 3.14, and true. Perfect, that works just the way we want it to. We're gonna go ahead and now create our meme queue. It's a queue of type meme. So as you can see right here, it's simply just a double linked list of type meme. Right, and their front is set into that. This is just this really fantastically helpful bit of information with nothing in it. I'm going to step over that first line right there, boom, and now we have everything pointing to null like it should. We've declared and initialized that value. Everything went immediately to null because our constructor of our base class, or abstract base class, immediately initializes those values appropriately. So that's exactly what we should have. We then have our add method. Our add method is going to then replace that front value with null and have it be a new thing. It's also going to change that associated in value because the front and end at the first spot are the same thing. So we step over that and watch those values change right here. Boom. Immediately notice the memory address right here of 2A90 matches that. They're the exact same points. We look at the node of meme. There's that meme data, and look, it's toddler face with pinwheel. It's that same thing we had right here. So we've initialized that meme in there. I'll go ahead and I'll create my second meme, step over that line. That second meme is then created. We take a look at second meme, and if you notice right here, we have my dankness quote is set 0. We're going to change that dankness value to 8435, so we'll step over and see that change, and look, we have the change happen immediately. We're going to go ahead and step over the cout statement. We already saw that that worked. Step over again, step over again. Now we're at that meme queue.remove 0, so let's go take a look at what happens to the actual queue data structure as we look at that. So here's my meme queue data structure. Again, right here, memory over here on the left. We show that we have our sizes 2, meme queue remove, and so right now front is pointing to 2A90 with the toddler fist with pinwheel. I'm going to call the remove method and watch what happens to the node that's at that spot. So watch here, we'll have front highlighted. We step over that, and notice that my front now no longer has that toddler fist with pinwheel. That data has been completely destroyed because the remove or dequeue methods are both destructive. The data that was inside that has been removed. It's no longer available to us as a user since we did not actually catch it with a variable to catch that value. We step over the next line again. In this case, we're going to use the temp variable to catch what is dequeued from that. We could have done it on remove, but we did not. And so now again, we have our queue right here, and our meme queue has node with a meme of the boring as a string for that's attached to the title on that. I step over this line. We're going to see this line set to be null because it's going to remove that from the actual structure. And let's watch and see that happen. And boom, we now have it front is set to null. No data, nothing in there. That's all null, all right there. My size is also 0. My meme queue works properly, just like it should. Because we have now that temp variable right here, it has the information of 8435, we have that reference to it. I step over that, boom, we have it showing up over here on the right, and the controller works exactly like it should. And we've seen how the queue data structure is implemented with code earlier, and now we can see how to test to make sure the methods are working properly. Thanks, and have a great day.